Hello, it's Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert, here from Scottsdale, Arizona, with episode 93 of the Couples Expert Podcast. I am so thrilled that you're joining me today because today we're going to talk about a really important topic. And being that on Monday, January 16th, it's the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. We'll be celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday as a federal holiday on the 15th. And in that spirit, I'm going to be talking about his example, his work, and how it relates to the work we do here at the Couples Expert. It might seem to some of you a long stretch to connect Dr. King's work with what I do here on the Couples Expert in talking about love and relationships. But I think as I go through some of the concepts, you're going to really see that there really is a connection. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King was an advocate for nonviolent demonstration. But more importantly, the part that I'm going to be talking a lot about was the fact that he was a preacher, an activist, a leader of a political movement, not unlike a movement that I have here when we're talking about a journey of really changing the face of the earth, one relationship at a time. And what he truly believed is that you can change the world with one demonstration at a time. And as a result of some of the work that he did, Lyndon Johnson created the Civil Rights Act because his message of love really resonated in history. And I think how it is now so important that all of us really pay attention to what matters and that the message of love that we share with our partners is what's going to change the world and change our country, because I don't think there's been any other time in recent years that's more important now in our country, that it really is very similar to what I recall as a young person growing up in the 50s and the 60s, that Dr. King's message of love and nonviolence is just as important today as it was back then, perhaps even more. You know, that time when Dr. King was protesting is a time that I remember very well. There were so many tragedies that were going on back then. And I recall many of his speeches, the quotes and stories about Dr. King that really show us the kind of person he was. What he was is a man that truly spoke from his heart. And he truly believed that nonviolence was the answer. And that love, along with nonviolence, could change your world. He really was a man ahead of his time. He taught us that standing up for yourself with dignity and grace and acting in love can change the world. I'm here today to tell you that acting in love can change yourself, it can change your relationship, and it can change your life. So join me today as I talk about the lessons I've learned from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. about love. His nonviolent demonstration was something that I believed in and was part of in my childhood, and memories of standing up for what I believed made me proud to be an American. In some ways, it's not that different than what's going on today. Following the election of Donald Trump, whether you supported him or did not support him, one of the really positive things that I believe are going on and will go on is I am hearing from many people for the first time in many years a desire to be involved with the social change in our country. Because my mission here at the Couples Expert is really about all of us being committed in our communities to truly change our world with loving connections. This podcast, hopefully, helps us all not to feel so alone. And I know we're on the right path. People may tell you it's just pie in the sky. Imagine what would have happened if those kinds of things would have stopped Dr. King. Great thinkers and people who change our world do them because they have the faith in the outcome and that their belief is that their goal is a noble one. Nothing's nobler than making love the answer to this world, and nothing will make you stronger and more secure than the love of your partner. I know all of you have a lot of stress in your lives. We all do. When you know that your partner is the most important thing in your life and that they are always there for you, then overcoming that stress is so much easier when we do it together. We surely can overcome. When I get frustrated or feel disheartened, I think about a spiritual song that made Dr. King very famous. And I'm going to put it in the show notes and a link to that song called We Shall Overcome. There are many people out there, and it sort of saddens me that many of you don't even really understand what I'm talking about. And it makes me at times feel so very old because many of you don't even know what I'm talking about. We really are an unbeatable team, and we can beat the odds. That's why I'm here today with this podcast and why it's so important to me that as many people hear this message of loving connection. You know, when I think of my memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, I really remember the I Had a Dream speech. It was such an incredibly powerful experience. And there's a part of me that has that memory right there, hearing his words. But then it's really followed by a sad memory, the memory of his assassination. And the really horrible time for me was weeks later was the assassination of Bobby Kennedy. And one after another, it seemed like everyone was getting assassinated. And those experiences for me really, I believe, really had such an impact on why I decided to take on this journey of love, to helping all of us work together to really have a world where love truly is an answer. I think about some of the things that Dr. King spoke about, and one of the less known ones is a quote that I recall called, "War is a poor chisel for carving out peaceful tomorrows." It's not a very well-known quote of his, but it has such a bearing on relationships. We can get so wrapped up in ourselves in the moment when we're triggered over something that we sometimes go to war with the people that we love the most. This most definitely does not lead to peaceful tomorrows. We don't want to be at war with our partners. We want to be like Dr. King and practice peace at every moment. Think in terms of love in every moment. Show your partners that they are the most important thing in the world to you. No matter what the situation is, we practice love as a verb, an action word, moving forward to a peaceful tomorrow where we always will repair our relationships and we always feel loved and will love our partner forever. In my own life and relationships, in my professional life, everything that I do at the Couples Expert really revolves around helping all of you be more loving, caring, with less hatred, anger, loneliness, and resentment. All of these negative emotions are just too great of a burden for us to bear. Let's stick all of those emotions, beat the crap out of them with the love that we feel. And let's just stick with love. You know, next week, I want to just sort of take an aside here of the podcast. And next week, we're going to have on the show Jackie Ledger, who is a new therapist here at the Couples Expert. I talked last week about the premarital program with Kelsey. And Jackie is another therapist who's joined the practice, and her specialty is EMDR therapy. And it's really about letting go of negative emotions. And I'm not as familiar with EMDR as I'd like to be, so I'm really excited to have a dialogue with her to learn about what EMDR is, a bit about how we're going to use EMDR therapy in working our couples. Because what I do know is that it's an amazing tool for helping people who have suffered trauma and for people with post-traumatic stress disorder. Jackie's made EMDR one of her specials. I'm really pleased to be talking with her next week. But let's get back to the important topic at hand today, which is about having a celebration for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and the lessons that we've all learned from him. What he really has taught us is to apply love to every single facet of your life, your relationships. What are those lessons about love? Number one, the one thing about him, more than anything that I recall, was his authenticity. And I've talked a lot about authentic relationships. He was one of the most authentic people to really ever grace this planet. He came from a humble beginning, and most of you probably know a lot of this if you've followed him at all, but he was raised as a Christian minister and was very well educated. And for a Black individual back then, that was not a common thing. And his authenticity, even with the fame and even with all the things that may have transpired, never changed him. He was the same whether he was talking to a garbage man or preaching at a pulpit or standing face to face with the President of the United States. He was authentic in every single situation. We all need that level of authenticity in our love relationships. We need to strip away pretense and stop doing and being what we think our partners want us to be and be who we are. It's so much easier to do that. If you love your partner and you want to know if your partner truly loves you, be yourself. Be genuine. We want our partners to see all of us, the good, the bad, and know that it doesn't change how they feel about us, and that their love for us is real and authentic, and that as a result of that, we could be so very vulnerable. You know, Dr. King had an opportunity to really rise above what many of the other people who are Afro-American were going through at the time. He had status, fame, and also bodyguards. He could have sat back and just watched what happened around him, but he didn't do that. He wanted to be involved. He wanted to be a change maker, someone that really helped this world become something different. And that's really what I want for all of you. Regardless of what happened and the amount of naysayers and the amount of people who caused him harm and tried to cause him harm, he kept going. He believed in what he knew was right, that nonviolence really was the answer. And when you have faith in what you believe and the path that you set on, you become stronger. And that strength takes you beyond the tough times. And that's why I often say, it's not really whether you argue and fight with your partner. It's do you repair and are you truly yourself in every moment and every interaction you have with your partner. You need to value who you are as an individual. Don't be something that you're not. And don't let your defenses have you behave differently than who you are. so that when you're in the middle of being triggered in an argument and you see yourself acting and saying things that go beyond who you want to be, recognize this. Recognize that it takes strength to stand back and just be yourself. And remember that love truly endures and will take us through many difficult times. What this truly says is that if you and your partner are willing to do the work, to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to make your relationship the highest priority in your life, your love can and will endure. That doesn't mean you won't have difficulties or disagreements, but it means that when these things happen, what you won't doubt and what you will believe is that the arguments that you're having, the difficulty that you're now involved with, is about a fight for connection, a fight for the love in your life, and that you and your partner can truly have a love story in which people will say, wow, they've been together for so long, and yet they are so, so happy and so much in love. Don't you want that kind of enduring love? I know I do. Love drives out hate. The message and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King was about love being the stronger and the most powerful force in the universe. He talked about divine love, love for our fellow human beings, and love for ourselves. The riots and clashes that took place during the civil rights era really demonstrated to all of us who was there that he was right, that hate meeting hate, anger meeting anger, and violence meeting violence only created more of the same. Dr. King's crusade was really about putting love into action and showing us that nonviolence, peace, and love was stronger than anything. That love can drive out all of those negative feelings and actions and create something really beautiful in this world. But we need to practice this. Practice peace and love and connection and togetherness. Your home truly needs to be a place where you come back to and know that you're with that one person that can help you feel calm and that you're finally in a place that there's going to be peace and serenity. Now, we all know if you're having children or if you have children in your life, it's not always so peaceful and serene. But in that chaos, there's an atmosphere of love that just lets you know everything's going to be okay. You know, this podcast and this message today, the message of Dr. Martin Luther King, is really what I do, is I try to take things in the real world and make them really relevant to all of our lives. And I urge you and I invite you to subscribe to the Couples Expert Podcast on iTunes. Listen to some of the episodes here. Leave a comment, a suggestion for me, because I do read every single one of them. And I appreciate your involvement. Check out the podcast. Check out my YouTube channel, the Couples Expert YouTube channel, where you find my 3 Minutes with Stuart videos. I record those every single day, and they're short, fun, and sometimes serious, but tips and advice to start your day with a really boost of keeping your relationship in the forefront. One of the things I'm going to be doing more of is Facebook Live. I'm announcing here that I'm going to start at least once a week, be doing Facebook Live suggestions and tips and interact with my community more, because I really want to be involved with what matters to all of you. So I hope you subscribe to the Facebook Live as well. What I want to talk about now and end with is really like Dr. King, I have a dream. His dream is an American dream, that everything that we have is available to everybody. To me, love is that resource. I have a dream that every single person, black, white, transgender, it doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is, if you're someone that loves someone, you have that dream just in your reach. And that there is a path to going from a feeling of disconnection to a feeling where you know you have someone in your life that matters to you more than anyone. My dream is that every couple can have a relationship that has that as part of their life. That two people can love each other through any trial and tribulation. They can weather any storm together as long as you don't give up. That you know that you are the most important person in your partner's life. And the way you know that is your partner tells you that every single day, that you are the one person in their life that matters to them the most. That's my dream. That each one of us knows that we're not alone, that no one should feel isolated and lonely. And when you're lying with your partner next to you, you know you're lying next to your best friend, and that you will never feel any doubt about their worth or your value to them. I know if you follow these steps, all of those kinds of dreams can come true, because together we're going to create close, connected relationships by loving each other enough to be vulnerable, authentic, and meet your needs of creating your own love story for the rest of your lives. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts about Dr. King's life, how it relates to all of us. And I want you to stay tuned, because look in the show notes for the link to Dr. King's famous I Have a Dream speech. I don't think there's a speech that's more powerful than that, nor as important as it is today. So it's been a pleasure to have you here this week on my show, and I am so grateful for you listening to my episode 93 in the Couples Expert Podcast. I'm looking forward to next week when we have Jackie Ledger on. And remember, please stay connected. Take care. Bye-bye.